was Gavaskar, the real master. Just like a wall, we couldn't know Gavaskar at all. Not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't know Gavaskar at all.
So we're finally recording?
We're finally recording.
Okay.
Well, it can't be a Nobles Cricket podcast without a fuck up, right? On that note.
We literally just recorded 2 minutes without actually recording.
Without actually recording.
Yeah.
And then we realized we weren't recording.
Anyway,
this is how you know this thing's unfiltered, because no one gives a shit. Plus, you'll hear WhatsApp notifications in the background, which always works. But anyway, welcome to the No Balls Cricket Podcast. We've recorded after so long, we've forgotten how to do it. I'm Siddhant Pradhan. This is Aditya Devrat. I used to be a club cricketer. He used to be a journalist. Now we're neither of those things.
Yeah. But we are together in the same country and same room for the first time in God knows how long.
Absolutely shocking. But yeah, here we are. We've also had an incident with the Bangladeshi today. So that just goes.
Happened to happen the day I show up.
Happened to happen the day he shows up. So, you know.
He's the one who hates the Bangladeshis. But
yeah, but I'm not pointing fingers at anyone who was responsible. But, you know.
Anyway, this is episode 51.
Yeah.
We are recording for the first time since the end of the India-England Test series, which was way back when.
Yeah.
Feels like ages ago. It was actually only in March. But
oh, look, it was when India could actually win tests at home.
yeah.
Shocking. Anyway.
Baseball still sucks. It sucked then and
It's still called Bazbolics.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't refer to it by Bazball. What is Bazball? Anyhow, on the show, we've got a big special episode, obviously BGT, and all the fallout from that. Plus, who's going to host the Champions Trophy? We still don't know. Whether India are going to play or whether Pakistan are going to play, who the fuck knows? That's a story for a different time.
You know what, maybe we should just go to Pakistan and be like, hey, look, if we can travel, the cricket team can travel.
No, wait. We should send Jay Shah BCCI to speak to Jay Shah ICC. And then they all combine and speak to Jay Shetty.
And then they all combine and speak to Amit Shah.
And then, anyway. So, on the round, we haven't done this in a while, so let's start off with the roundup. So,
which is what, eight months worth of cricket to round up?
Let's see if we can do it in 2 minutes, that would be perfect. Challenge.
Alright, so I'm just not going to talk. You can do the roundup on your own.
Actually, you know what? I might get through it in 2 minutes. Anyway, so here's what happened. In the 8 months since we've last recorded, there have been a couple of World Cups. One that India won. And then they proceeded to win a test series at home and lose a test series at home. And then everyone forgot that they won a World Cup. And they also lost an ODI series in Sri Lanka for the first time in some sort of David Moyes record-breaking streak. That was so long ago.
So basically not a great start to Gautam Gambhir's coaching career.
No, not at all. In fact, it's been pretty terrible. First time in 70 odd years that we've been whitewashed at home in a series of more than 2 games. South Africa did it back in 2000, but that was only 2 test matches. And of course that series was... Let's not get into that. But getting whitewashed by New Zealand, the only real finds out of that entire thing were Sarfaraz Khan made a good 100 in the first game, and then the surprise pick Washington Sundar proved to be, incredible. Yeah. But, we'll get into that in more detail in the main bit. Meanwhile, across the border...
Which border? Which one of them are you making fun of first?
Fuck, you're right. Okay, we'll start in Pakistan because they had the most chaotic thing on earth.
Yeah.
So Pakistan, basically, after all of that, I don't even know what one-day and T20 cricket they played because it's just all amalgamated into one, except for the series a few days ago against Australia, which they won actually.
I think what we need to know about Pakistan is the facts are they lost one test to England in which they actually batted well first innings and then somehow gave up 800 runs or whatever it was.
It was okay. So that test still stands out as an incredible record. It's the highest first innings score ever made to lose by an innings.
What is it, 550 something?
553 or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was insane because England ended up making 800 in a day and a half, which was wild. But that was on a really flat pitch, and then Pakistan
then took a leaf out of our book, decided to make turning... In fact, forget it, they didn't even make turning tracks. What the genius thing they did is they took that track that had just given up 1,300 runs and then said we're playing on the same pitch after 5 days of play has already happened.
No, but the brilliant thing about that was all of the stuff, the paraphernalia out of it to make the pitch spin, which was just
the crazy, like giant
that
fans
was wild.
and
That was
giant lights.
fans, giant heating lights, and I could swear to God they were either trying to make an air fryer or a tandoor. I couldn't figure out which one.
But it worked because then
But
they
it
won the
worked.
next 2 tests.
Yeah, because they did the same thing at the other one as well.
They spun England out. Basically, Bazbollocks cannot do spin in Asia.
In Asia,
Yeah.
that's the bottom line.
But
Because
the funniest thing that
Pakistan
happened
says
was
so. But having said that, now we go to the other team from across the border as well. Because
No, but we have to talk about the main thing that happened there in the Pakistan-England series.
which was?
Which is that they finally dropped Babar Azam.
Oh yeah, they dropped Babar Azam. Which team drops their best player and still somehow wins? Incredible. Anyway, they managed that. Kamran Ghulam came in and scored 100. Anyway, they won that series. Prior to that, and this is where Bangladesh entered our story, Bangladesh somehow managed to beat Pakistan 2-0 in Pakistan, right?
Yep.
Which was incredible. We all thought it was weird, and they had this big, tall, fast bowler who's probably going to get injured in the next few weeks. But he,
I love your optimism.
yeah, but they beat Pakistan with pace, which was hilarious because what? Anyway, and that caused all the whole thing with the England series. Pakistan also, when they finally did win that test, broke a streak of 1,000 and something days of not winning a test at home, which again, that's just Pakistan. And then Bangladesh themselves when they came to India because
But they played to form.
They played to form. They had India 160 for 6 on a seaming pitch with 3 pacers that were actually quick, right?
And then Jadeja and Ashwin showed up.
And then Jadeja and Ashwin showed up, and then they lost the game
Yeah.
in Chennai, which was odd on a seaming track. And then that's not even the funniest bit. We had all this drama with the Kanpur outfield in the second test. And of course, with all the rain and all of the nonsense that went on there, despite not getting play for 3.5 days, India somehow managed to win the game in a day and a half?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
So their first innings went at 7 or 8 runs in over.
It was 8 runs and over. It was
Yeah.
the highest, but they batted 35 overs in the first innings and about 16 or 17 in the second. And if I'm not mistaken, it is the second lowest number of overs ever batted to win a test match,
Yeah.
which is crazy. I think the total was something like 53 or something.
Yeah.
The lowest is 51. I cannot remember for the life of me who played that game. But I think it was early 1900s, so it doesn't matter anyway.
So we're talking one of those crazy
one of
Ashes
those
series.
crazy Ashes
Right.
series, probably.
But we almost kind of sowed the seeds of the New Zealand result there. Because I feel like Gambhir decided that this is how we have to play every single test match.
Yeah. Okay, moving
Anyway,
on.
we'll get into that.
We'll get into that. We'll move on very rapidly to England, who managed to have a shit T20 World Cup.
Defending champions.
Defending champions.
They really can't do the defending champions thing, can they? They crashed out of the ODI World Cup.
Listen, it's a surprise that they were even champions to begin with.
Well, hang on. In the ODI World Cup, they were not. They won on a technicality.
Exactly, fair enough. Let's not get into that. Otherwise, James Neesham will come crying again. Tell you to take up baking or some shit. Anyway, that was one thing. In the 2 test series that they played at home, they beat the West Indies 2-0? Oh, no, sorry.
3-0?
3-0.
Yeah. And they beat Sri Lanka 2-1.
And they beat Sri Lanka 2-1, but they basically Bazbollocked the loss in the last game, and Sri Lanka were just better than them.
Yeah.
So that was a harbinger of things to come. And then, of course, aforementioned got spun out in Pakistan. So that was England for you, Bazbollocked. And we're done with that. We're not talking about them anymore. Australia, well, they've had a really interesting time of it. They didn't win the World T20, which was a surprise to most. And then
We're talking about the women's team.
No. We're talking about both.
Are you sure? It was a
Hang on,
surprise in the
you
men's team?
didn't even let me segue. Why are you interjecting?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Know your place. No, so Australia didn't win the World T20, and then almost even more shockingly, their women didn't win the World T20 either.
That was
a shock and a half.
That was definitely shocking.
South Africa, Annika boshed them out of the tournament, basically. And then proceeded to South Africa themselves and lose the final to New Zealand.
That's two T20 World Cup finals lost in the space of 4 months?
4 months
For South Africa. Pretty tragic for them.
Yeah, pretty tragic for them. But true to form. So far, every team has been true to form. Pakistan have been Pakistaning. Bangladesh have been Bangladeshing.
So is India the only one that did something shocking with that home series loss?
Yeah, completely. And with that, we complete the roundup.
Wow.
I don't.
Wait, we didn't. Did we? No. Did we get into the whole Champions Trophy kerfuffle? Or we can do that later.
No, we're gonna do that later.
Okay, fine.
Well, we should do that now. Here's the Champions Trophy kerfuffle. Before we get into it.
Okay, so the roundup is done. Now
the roundup is done. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Roundup is done. We're moving on to the kerfuffle.
Yeah.
Anyway, so as people must know, Pakistan are supposed to be hosting the Champions Trophy next year. That has been decided and supposedly set in stone for a long time. That entire time, there's been the issue of whether India is going to travel or not. It finally came out this week that India has decided they are not going to travel and they want to have a hybrid version where part of the tournament gets played in Dubai or South Africa or Sri Lanka or wherever else.
Oh no! You don't know today's update, do you?
No, what is today's update?
Okay, today's update is fantastic, right? So 2 days ago they said, okay, we'll move it to South Africa. Now, so far, I believe Pakistan government has been talking to Jai Shah ICC. Let's make that clarification clear. Okay, Jai Shah ICC has said nothing,
Of course.
obviously. And then basically what they said was, okay, we are not open to moving the tournament. So someone on Twitter goes, okay, why don't we move it to South Africa? And then today someone has come out and said, India are front runners to host the tournament now.
No, okay, I had genuinely not seen that.
That is
an
update for
that might be. I genuinely think that would be a bigger flashpoint in India-Pakistan relations than any actual army/militant group action that has happened in the last 70 years.
Yeah, but here's Pakistaning again. So some cunt on Twitter said that, okay, Pakistan should not allow this, and if India don't want to play the tournament, they can leave. They can be left out, and somebody.
I completely agree with this, by the way.
I mean, so do I. But then anyway, here's the catch.
Yeah.
Right. As usual, this is Pakistaning. So there will be sense to begin with.
Yeah.
And then once the sense is over,
Somewhere it just dives.
somewhere it dies.
Yeah.
And then they are like, oh, but but Pakistan does not promote cross-border terrorism and never has, and it's just like, bro, homie, no one believes you. Literally nobody believes you. But yeah, that is the Pakistaning that was happening. But yeah, brilliant Pakistaning from Pakistan.
Listen, I am in Pakistan's court here. I know this makes me out to be an anti-national.
No,
but I think I have done enough to be considered like a
citizen. Relax.
But Pakistan should absolutely hold their ground. The
Yeah.
problem is, of course, no one makes their money. No one makes any money if India doesn't play in this tournament. So probably something is good. Yeah, there's going to be a money spinning solution to happen. But yeah, if India wants to say, hey, we're not going to travel, and then don't travel, and don't play in the tournament.
So the funny bit is, and this is the hypocrisy behind all of it, is cricket is treated very differently because all of the other sports teams from India, including the hockey team, the football team, blah, 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 all of them have gone to Pakistan. All of them. Not even a single one hasn't. So cricket's the only one. I mean, at this point, it's just like, bro, go play a test series, beat them, come home.
Seriously.
I don't know, inflate your averages while you're at it.
Well,
would
we win?
Yeah, because I'll tell you what will happen. So Pakistan. They will be too scared of Ashwin and Jadeja and then prepare flat tracks. And then we will literally smack them all over the place because Shaheen will pull up lame in the middle of a game. And then they have that Amir Jamal who anyways looks like a bloody Kanga League bowler. And he'll get walloped. And then they'll bring out Sajid Khan and Chacha Noman. He is a Chacha, bro. Look at him.
So basically that's fodder for Pant and Sarfraz
and yeah, so everybody will fill their boots, come home, we'll win the series probably 2-0 or something because one game will definitely be drawn.
So if we play a test series in Pakistan and we win, you think that is enough to satisfy everyone who's going to be frothing at the bit about us going to Pakistan at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Because, okay, bro, I'm not lying. Doesn't want to see an India-Pakistan test series.
Oh no, but I mean, listen, that whole thing happened with the revolution in Bangladesh, and a lot of Hindus in Bangladesh were attacked.
No, the best.
And then that Bangladesh test series happened, and you saw how people in India were pissed off about that.
There's only
and that's Bangladesh. So just imagine if we do something in Pakistan.
It's Bangladesh. No one cares. We only care about one thing. Do you know what the good thing is? Can I tell you what the best thing to come out of that whole revolution is?
Shakib.
There we go.
Shakib's career has pretty much ended in disgrace.
Absolutely.
He has not been able to have his farewell test because he was a sitting MP of the previous ruling party, and then he actually got charged in a murder case. Of course, he did not actually murder anyone, but because he was one of the various MPs of the ruling party who did kind of orchestrate, murders of protesters and whatnot, he has actually been charged. And so he can't even play a test in his own country. Yeah, I can see why you're thrilled.
He's a prick and a mass murderer. Brilliant. Serves my purpose. Anyway, so that's about the Champions Trophy. God only knows what the hell's going to happen. If I'm Pakistan, I'm just like, listen, fuck you guys. We're hosting it, whether you come or not.
If that happens, does every other board pull out saying, hey, we're not going to make this event is not going to make any money without India?
Look, the reality of it is everybody knows what's going to happen. If India doesn't play, you either don't have the Champions Trophy or it gets moved to make sure India plays. And Pakistan will have to acquiesce because they make far too much money from that one game of cricket than they do for the rest of the year. So, anyway, that's about the Champions Trophy.
What happens if we actually genuinely take the Champions Trophy away from Pakistan? Like, what flashpoint occurs because of that? Like, would this actually, could this of all things be the spark of something like much, much more serious?
No, this is way more serious than nuclear war. We don't want us beating Pakistan. It's like World War III. Anyway,
you know what the worst case scenario would be, but with the best most chaos scenario. We steal the Champions Trophy. It gets hosted in India or whatever, but then Pakistan win the India-Pakistan game in India.
Now I'm considering you anti-national. Go back. Oh, right. We forgot the most brilliant thing that happened during that T20 World Cup.
What?
The USA beating Pakistan. USA. That was a wild tournament, but to be fair. Anyway, so that's all about the Champions Trophy. Now we will move on to more serious matters. Let's first start with India versus New Zealand.
Where to even start?
Man, that was a shit show.
It's so bad that we're at this stage that it's effectively being considered as a given that we've seen the last home test that will feature all four of Kohli, Rohit, Jadeja and Ashwin. Like, it's not even it's not even up for debate now.
There's a fascinating article that I will pull up. I can't remember who the writer is, but they said, and these are the statistics very clearly put, that the averages when India play on wickets that aren't spinning as much, there's a far greater differential between India's bowlers and everybody else's than...
which is what we've been we've
been saying this for a while.
For ages. It's like, no, we don't need to prepare overly turning tracks because we will outspin people on fairer tracks.
But the best bit about all of this is purely born out of obstinacy.
Yeah. Gambhir's ego, basically.
Gambhir's ego was like, no, I don't care if the conditions are overcast and it's been like record rain in Bangalore.
We will play three spinners.
I was like,
and then we have to decide. Gambhir has decided that he needs to be Gamball has to be the next Bazball. He's decided this in his head, and so now we bat like idiots.
Look, funnily enough, right? I'll say this: the 36 all out in Australia,
not Gamball, Gaubball.
Okay, we are still in India. I'm still an Indian citizen. Tread very carefully from this point forward. There are certain things I am not allowed to say on the show, and this man is now really pressing the envelope. Anyway, the point is, it was born out of pure obstinacy. He was so obstinate that he's going to be, okay, I am going to play three spinners come what may. Bro, half of Bangalore was flooded. Even I knew we had to play four seamers. Not three, four seamers. But no, and then the brilliant bit about this is Rohit Sharma wins the toss. We will bat. And I'm just looking around and I'm like, huh?
How many times are we going to do that versus New Zealand of all teams? where we give them the perfect storm of conditions and decisions.
And yeah, I mean, and then of course the second innings collapse was also thick, but again that was caused by seamers. So the first game, you just look at it as an outlier.
No. Let's be clear though. The second innings collapse was caused by Pant hitting a six and making the ball get lost.
Fair point.
And then the replacement ball just cleaned us up.
This is a fair point, and I'm not joking. I was watching at that point. That is one of the biggest sixes I have ever seen in my life. Man, it was huge, and it cleared the ground not by like a short distance, by a long way. And I'm not saying Bangalore's the biggest ground, but geez, that six was huge.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, then of course they were like, then they do the most Indian thing ever, which is like, yeah, we'll prepare spinning pitch. I was like, great. And then
they gamble on Washington.
That paid off.
Which paid off. But somehow he got outdone by Mitchell Santner.
No. Wait, hang on. Let me clarify now. So basically, the entirety of the second test, and I'll tell you this, is pockmarked by New Zealand batting okay and finding some or the other way of getting to a decent score. And then the first innings of that second game is possibly the single worst. Forget the 36, forget the 46 all out. That 100 and whatever it was all out is the worst I've ever seen India bat. No lie. Like that is not saying, that's saying very little. They were awful. They were absolute trash. The only person that had any semblance of an idea as to what he was doing was Pant.
Yeah.
That was probably the worst batting I've ever seen in my life. No one put a price on that wicket. Everybody was useless. And yeah, then of course trying to chase whatever it was in the second innings of that game. But also, how often do you get two finger spinners picking 11 and 13 wickets in the same game? That's wild. That's actually wild.
How often do you get Ashwin and Jadeja being outbowled by everyone, their own teammates and the other team?
Rare as well, yeah. And that led us to the third test. Now, by this point, we've lost a series for the first time in, 18 series, 12 years or something like that?
Yeah. The England 2012.
The England 2012 series. Yeah. So you go back to the scene where that series was lost, which is basically at the Wankhede all those years ago. And you prepare, I wouldn't call it a difficult pitch. I wouldn't call it a bad pitch, but it was a difficult pitch. And being from Bombay, knowing the red soil wickets the way we both do, you know that they traditionally, if you leave a little bit of grass on them, they will favor the seamers and then flatten out into good wicket. And then as the game progresses, there's always going to be some spin. So there's always something in it for the bowlers.
So basically, we could have done a normal Wankhede wicket.
Yeah.
Instead, we decided to do 2004 Wankhede wicket. Or not 2005 Wankhede wicket.
It wasn't so bad. But
it ended in pretty much the same amount of time. 3 days, the
three
Australia test ended quicker.
Yeah. The best bit was we were actually in this game and then we had another batting collapse. And then somehow, out of all of the people that has to get us out again at Wankhede, it has to be the one motherfucker that's born in Bombay. That too in Jogeshwari. Oh my god.
Yeah, his last time, Ajaz Patel's last time, he took 10 wickets in an innings in a drawn test.
No, not a drawn test. We won that game. He took 10 wickets in innings, but we won that game.
Oh, he took... Okay.
Yeah,
we drew the other test.
We drew the other test.
All right.
We won that game. But anyway.
And then, of course, he comes back to Bombay and
Yeah.
He had been completely played out of this series. Huh? Like, Santner outbowled him. Then Santner gets injured. Ajaz comes in, just
destroys us. And that game, there was this air of inevitability about it. Even in the second innings, when you're like, oh, we might make a little charge. Pant was going.
Pant's batting in that innings.
Pant was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Pant's wicket actually caused a bit of consternation because if you saw the review, they were not sure whether he edged it or that was his bat hitting the pad.
Correct.
And without hotspot, you're never going to be able to tell.
Yeah.
Actually, John Wright was the one on Twitter who brought that up. And I was watching live at that point and I'm thinking, this is a dicey one.
Yeah.
But it brings up another issue with DRS. But having said that, it's still a better system than VR. Fucking anything's a better system than VR at this point.
I don't know. A system that allows a referee who's doing lines of coke to make decisions is, I think that beats...
Listen, first of all, shout out to David Coote because he's called Jurgen Klopp in Liverpool a cunt. my sir, we applaud and salute you. We will not go into the allegations of you being shown doing lines of...
Just Google David Coote.
Just Google David Coote and maybe we can give him a job as a match referee or something in cricket.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, why not?
He has to. Who does he have to give galis to? Australia, Pakistan?
No,
I don't.
England.
He's English. He's not going to give galis to England.
He's a cunt. You never know. He clearly doesn't like the North.
Yeah.
So all of Yorkshire might be pinged. But anyway, let's see. Anyway, that David Coote should... Yeah.
Google David Coote.
Google David Coote, but we're not going to go into the rest of it. But yeah, one of the most disappointing series losses we've ever seen. And I think the thing that pissed me off more than anything was Rohit Sharma's response. 12 साल में एक बार होता है कभी-कभी. Like, no, bro.
He's classic.
No.
He is classic. Like,
he's just like, I don't give a fuck.
I wanted Gambhir to be sacked. I mean, to be fair, I didn't want Gambhir to be appointed in the first place. So I am looking for excuses for him to be sacked. But like, at this point, a disastrous loss in the Border Gavaskar Trophy actually like comes with a saving grace that's probably the end of Gambhir being taken seriously as a coach. And let's say, we didn't get into this in the roundup, and we probably don't want to deep dive into this too much. But just to recall, Gambhir got appointed during a process in which no one else interviewed. Effectively everyone else was barred from interviewing. We already know the whole, like, okay, Gambhir is a BJP MP who is in charge of the BCCI right now.
Okay, let me explain how it all went down. Jay Shah, ICC spoke to Jay Shah, BCCI. Jay Shah, BCCI spoke to Government of India, Amit Shah. Amit Shah told Gambhir to quit his job as an MP. Gautam Gambhir then applied to Jay Shah.
Only applicant, huh?
Only applicant.
Yeah.
Jay Shah, BCCI to become coach. Jay Shah, BCCI said yes, and here we are.
Farce of an application process. Anyway, this is just the vibe shift from getting Rahul Dravid to sign off his coaching career with a World T20 win, and then going from that to Gambhir.
Listen, we've gone years of having MSK Prasad as chief selector. The minute you get a slight upgrade from him in Ajit Agarkar, we win something. You see where this is going. I'm not doing this whole...
But he's still chief selector for everything that's happened since.
No. How can he be chief selector? Jay Shah, BCCI, has spoken to Gautam Gambhir, and Ajit Agarkar has been hataud, and Gautam Gambhir has been allowed in. So, So India versus Australia. Let's start by talking about who the fuck is Harshit Rana. Sorry. Before we go on, this segment is sponsored by this very nice Australian gin. It's called 4 Pillars. I love it. I picked it up in Singapore. I think you guys have a absolutely amazing product.
Hey, by the way, if anyone from 4 Pillars is watching,
yeah.
you want to give us money, we'd love it actually.
Please.
We gave you money by buying this, so
fair point. And I've bought a fair few bottles over the course of the year. Anyway, who the fuck is Harshit Rana?
Gautam Gambhir nepotism pick.
So his stepchild.
Harshit Rana was playing for KKR, right? That was the whole deal.
It was. Anyway, so India versus Australia. It's an interesting one because it's
India coming off obviously a very bad run of form with this New Zealand series.
But also
on the flip side, two straight series wins in Bangladesh, in Australia.
I mean, one was expected, one was a bit of a miracle.
Yeah.
However, we're missing the key cog in those 2 series wins.
Shami.
Oh no, I was talking about Cheteshwar Pujara.
That too.
Shami missed most of the second series, remember?
Shami did. Yeah. We have positive news on that front though. He is currently playing a Ranji game and looks good actually.
He looked actually just...
so he probably can't make it down for the first test, but maybe he gets picked for the second test or added to the squad rather. For the second test.
So India's conundrum obviously is who's going to open because Rohit Sharma is
maybe out.
No, most likely out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can we just say? Hang on. I know you don't want to get into all these politics a lot, but the last time we were in Australia, Virat Kohli left the tour because of the birth of his child. If Rohit Sharma, by any chance, gets back to Australia in time for the first test and either misses or rushes back from the birth of his child, can you imagine the talking points we'll get on Indian cricket Twitter?
I mean, Kohli's checked out anyway, so it's fine. And I don't blame him, honestly. Leave when you can. That's the question. But yeah, so basically, Rohit Sharma has to sort of... First of all, it leaves two big questions if he doesn't make it for the first test.
Who's opening? And the follow-up question is, what is the rest of the order looking like?
Oh, and the third big question, who's captain?
No, I think that is not a question. It's going to be Bumrah.
It's going to be Bumrah. Yeah. Fair enough. But I mean, I don't know. But Jasprit Bumrah as a captain. It would be really rare if two fast bowlers are captains, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be really rare. He was captain for our for the last test of that 2-year series in England. Mm-hmm. The one where we got fast bowled.
Yeah. Well, it was... Man, I'm still so angry about that because I was in Manchester with tickets for that game and they cancelled it. Yeah. But anyway.
But yeah, no, Bumrah was... I think it's been announced or pretty much confirmed that he's going to be captain. So yeah, it would be actually pretty cool to see Bumrah versus Cummins. I mean, we got an Ashes series with Stokes, but Stokes isn't a fast bowling captain. He's an all-rounder captain, so it's not the same.
No, not the same. But yeah, like... Alright, so India, I mean, other than that, the side pretty much picks itself. It's just literally who's going to open.
I don't know if the side picks itself. India committed in the last series and pretty much ever since to playing in their tours of England and South Africa and Australia of playing 4 seamers come what may. But if you remember in the 2018 Border Gavaskar Trophy, they did not start like that, and I think quite often they played 2 spinners. It was a question of which 2 spinners.
Well, they're definitely not playing 2 spinners because the first test is in Perth. So the question is, we know. Look, here's the certainties that I can tell you. Jaiswal's definitely playing.
Gill's
definitely playing. Virat Kohli is definitely playing. Sarfaraz Khan is most definitely playing. Rishabh Pant is most definitely playing. Jadeja will play.
Jadeja has been the key to India playing abroad, really. Just a number 7 who can bowl.
And everybody thought that he wouldn't be a good enough bowler away from home, and that was the worry initially.
Yeah.
But Jadeja
is such a good... And his role is different, right? He's there to basically hold up one end.
But the thing is, he's such a good cricketer that he does something. And there was this... By the way, if you guys haven't checked this out, do. There's a fabulous channel on YouTube called 6 and Out. He's an Australian guy. I don't know his name, but he makes some fabulous like old school cricket videos. And he went through one where he was saying, and it was basically about Australia's hunt for the next big spinner after Shane Warne. But he said the one thing, and
wait, does
that was a saga.
Does Nathan Lyon not count?
Yeah, but the whole video was basically about the journey from Warne to Lyon.
Okay.
And it took about 40...
With your O'Keefes and your...
No, not even O'Keefe. O'Keefe made his debut much later. It was... You went through some randoms like...
Sorry, I was trying to say McGill. McGill with your McGill.
So you went through... Let me tell you the names. And Aussie fans will remember this, but nobody else will. You went through Brad Hogg... Stuart McGill, Brad Hogg, Bryce McGain, Bo Casson...
Yep.
Cameron White as a frontline spinner at one point. Yeah.
Steve Smith as a all-round.
Spinning all-rounder.
Spinning all-rounder.
Who can forget Jason Krejza?
Yep.
The most successful out of a lot of them was Nathan Horrocks, which, man, he was terrible. That's surprising.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, and then obviously they eventually ended up at Nathan Lyon, and I mean, now having watched Lyon for 13, 14 years of his career, he's been
great. He's
phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no point in even going into that. So, back to the point. Jadeja is... What basically his point was that Australia looked for a wicket-taking spinner who could hold an end up, which is Warne did both things together.
Yeah.
You couldn't get both with one of the guys that I've just mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, even that... Jason Krejza innings, it was like, 8 for 200?
I mean, Sehwag got after him. Yeah. But that's the point we're trying to get at. It's you have to have the ability as a spin bowler in, I mean, modern Test cricket, I would say any time after 2000. basically. So you have to be able to be an attacking spinner while holding an end up. The best of them have all done it. So obviously you look at the three big ones, which is Murli, Warren and Kumble.
Yeah. And I will say, by the way, the last couple of tours, Ashwin, especially the last tour in 2021, Ashwin figured it out. The problem is, of course, is that Ashwin can't bat at 7, whereas Jadeja can.
Let's not say Ashwin can't bat at 7. Ashwin's not a good enough bat at 7.
Yeah.
I think that's a more fair assessment.
And especially outside of India. And that's what separates them, because Ashwin's probably still the better wicket-taking option in a place like Australia. I mean, listen, the way it's actually fascinating if you go back and listen to him talk about it. The way he figured out how to bowl to Steve Smith, who is possibly one of the best players of spin all time. And in that tour, I think Ashwin picked Smith up 2 or 3 times. And it's just the way he figured out the weaknesses, the angles, getting him out at leg slip, and it seems like it's a complete fluke, but Ashwin's actually bowling for that.
No, but so there's different varieties of it. So, in fact, as spin bowlers, I'd probably club Lion and Jadeja together because they're very similar in their method.
Yeah.
Lion will pick a spot, aim for it, and go for it.
Yeah.
Jadeja does pretty much the same thing in a slightly different way. Lion's spot is because he's got that Aussie way of overspinning it, where he'd pick a spot just outside off stump, try and spin it back, get as much bounce as he can, and get whatever he could from. Yeah, thank you. I don't know why we got a thumbs up there, but sure.
Because if you do this, you get it.
Oh, do I?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Or you're supposed to,
anyway. Sorry, random things when we record for the first time. So Lion would pick that spot and sort of keep on repeat.
And that's
similar
to what spin bowlers outside of India, really, because Indian bowlers don't do that because they know their variations, they understand. They have the variations that a lot of English and Aussie and South African spinners won't, and New Zealand. But Indian bowlers just have a lot more variations. They have a lot. But also, it's probably not fair to say they have a lot more skill.
No,
but
it's a different method of bowling.
Yeah.
So the great Erpali Prasanna always said that if you're bowling in India, you always have to bowl slightly quicker.
Yeah.
Because the pitch is going to give you what they call ready spin. So it'll always spin. Yeah. There will always be turn. It's how much you vary the amount that you spin the ball that makes a big difference. But you keep the pace steady. Whereas,
but by the way, one of Ashwin's thing has always been to vary the pace.
But then I was going to get to my next point, which is basically what away from home it's slightly different, because you're not going to get as much ready spin from the wicket unless it's, I don't know, Sydney or
it's basically just Sydney.
It's just basically Durban's gone that way, and the West Indies is definitely gone that way.
Oh yeah,
Trinidad.
No, I thought we were talking about only Australia.
Trinidad, for example, spins a lot. But like away from home, traditionally places that favor fast bowling. Although having said that, the West Indies hasn't done that in a while. But you sort of have to vary your pace a little bit more, and again pick a spot. Jadeja does something similar. The only difference between Jadeja and Lion essentially is Jadeja is more round arm. Yeah. Whereas Lion's more over the top and he's a taller guy as well. Yeah. So really their methods are
the strategy is
slightly different, but
I would say the strategy is pretty much the same, in fact. It's just because of the differences in
maybe they're just a different method basically. But more similar bowlers. But Jadeja gives you that option as well. Like again, coming back to that point where he gives you the wicket taking option while being able to hold an end up in his own
and that he's a good enough bat at 7.
And for me, proof of that was actually on one of those tours of Australia, which was 2018-19.
The Jadeja and Pant partnership?
No, it was Boxing Day.
No, sorry, we're talking 20. Yeah, the Jadeja and Pant partnership, wasn't it? Or was it Jadeja and Pujara? I can't remember.
I'm not talking about the batting at all. I'm talking about his bowling. And Ashwin, who had been fabulous for the first 2 games, well, the first game because he didn't play in the second one, and the second game we had, I believe, Hanuma Vihari was our lead spinner.
The days.
The days. Anyway, Jadeja came in, Ashwin injured himself for the 3rd game, if I'm not mistaken. For the 3rd and 4th game.
That's what happened in that series. It's actually kind of, even though they were without Smith and Warner, it's actually that series also was a pretty impressive win given the amount of changes we made in that.
We would have won 3-1 if not for rain.
Yeah.
We were the better side by long way in that series. But also that also came with the fact that we had developed a fast bowling pack by that point, and the best of the 3, which is Shami, Ishant Sharma and Bumrah. This series slightly different, and we had Umesh Yadav as Umbros as backup. Man,
This was pre-Umbros days, though. He hadn't turned into the...
he literally turned into Umbros. That
series was more the South Africa series that
no
went
no
right
no
after.
no no it was against, I remember this so clearly. It was against the West Indies.
You're right. Yeah.
That happened about a month before they went to Australia. That's when he turned into Umbros. Anyway, but yeah, so that's a good fast bowling lineup. Plus add Jadeja to it, and that's great. And then of course you had Kuldeep Yadav in the last game.
So getting back to our point.
Getting back
in
to
terms
our
of
point.
the India team picking itself outside of Rohit
There's
Sharma.
only really two spots that are up for grabs. One is who's going to open.
Yeah.
If Rohit Sharma doesn't make it in time, I can't believe it's today is the 15th of November. We're a week out from the test match. And we have no idea who's going to open the
I was
batting.
about to say something very politically incorrect. Let's not go there.
Just pray to God it isn't K-Lol.
I wasn't even thinking about those. Here are the options. KL Rahul played the A series. So did Abhimanyu Easwaran, who has been tearing it up in Ranji, but then did not have a great A series. Neither did Rahul. The other option is probably moving Gill up to open and then bringing another middle order bat, who again could still be KL Rahul.
I hope we don't do that. And I think, in fact, the one person who's already played Test cricket for us who looks the part and has had a fabulous 8-over. And to be honest, pretty difficult wickets at times, is Dhruv Jurel.
And that's the thing. Does Dhruv Jurel just step in? If you're playing him, does he step in as an opener? Does Gill move up? Then do we do Kohli at 3? We did that once in the New Zealand series. Did not work, but we did that. And then you put Jurel in in the middle order.
I think it's pretty clear what you do. In fact, and this for me makes the most sense. Look, Virat Kohli cannot bat at 3. That has been proven time and time again. He's not Ricky Ponting. He's Virat Kohli. He needs to bat at 4. All right. Now we just hope that we get the best out of Kohli, which we probably will in Australian conditions, because he does love to bat in Australia. He's made so many runs there; it's unbelievable. So Kohli bats at 4. So if anything, Sarfraz cannot bat at 3.
So what do you think? You could have Gill open and
Jurel bats at 3. If you're going down that route. That's the only viable option.
Our track record of turning wicket keepers into makeshift openers. We did it with DK, we did it with Parthiv Patel.
To be fair, Jurel does have the technique for it.
Yeah.
That could be an option.
So I also would not be entirely surprised if we put Washington Sundar at either open or at 3 with Gill opening.
That is an option as well. However, Sundar's runs have come in domestic cricket at 3. So that makes sense with that in mind. However, from the way the team management has seen him, they see him more as a 5 or a 6, if anything. It's a tough call.
So again, going back to, so we know in the top 7 we've got Jaiswal, we've got Gill, we've got Kohli, we've got Pant. That's 4. Sarfraz probably 5. The question is, top 7 includes Jadeja also.
Yeah.
So it's literally between the combination and batting order will change depending on who you pick. But it's like Jurel, you've got maybe KL Rahul.
I hope it isn't KL Rahul.
Maybe Washington Sundar, maybe Abhimanyu Easwaran, probably not either of Rahul. But Rahul has one of the best. It's not even PR teams, because actually his PR is terrible. Indian cricket fans hate him. But
I hate him.
No. In general, now
I'm just annoyed with him.
In general, Indian fans have turned against him. But in various different management teams have always backed him. Whether it was Shastri and Kohli, whether it was Dravid and Rohit. Now Gambhir also backs him. So I think he's had the backing of Indian management for a long time, and therefore he might just get one more run. And to be fair, he's been good away from home. Not outstanding, but he's been good.
Okay. Unless you're the West Indies, if you have a batting average of anything less than 40 after 50 games, you should not be playing. The man averages 32.
Yeah, for all that talent. We maybe have insulted Rohit Sharma too much with the talent Sharma thing. Maybe it should be talent Rahul is what we're doing.
So basically, we are repeating history with Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul. The only difference is Rohit Sharma is far more talented.
So the thinking with Rahul is, of course, he's got his successful tours of England and South Africa, and previously he has a century in. Does he have a century in Australia?
Yeah, he does.
have a century in Australia.
First ever test centuries in Australia, actually.
Yeah. So it's that. It's the fact that he's been so successful away from home in the toughest conditions for Indian batters.
And the funny thing is, KL Rahul, every time it's like, oh, I've been dropped. Oh, I got a shot at coming back into the team, and suddenly you're like, oh, bang, 100.
Then, of course, he doesn't score another 100 for the next 10 tests or whatever.
10 tests or whatever. And then you're like, oh, look, he still averages 30 after 60 games. And it's just like, oh, this can't go on, man. And
Here's the thing. But the other thing is, it's a one-off pick, right? Because Rohit Sharma comes back for the second test.
You hope. We don't know that. He could be missing for none. He could be missing for 2. Nobody knows.
So as far as we know, so far the reporting is just that he's a doubt for the first test. So if it's a one-off test, does it make more sense to have KL Rahul come in? Because he's, it's a player who's played a lot of tests just coming into the test side. Or would you throw someone in at the deep end, whether it's Jurel opening or Ishwaran making a debut or whatever?
Pause for a second.
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, basically, who do you pick? I fucking don't know, honestly.
I have a feeling it's going to be KL Rahul. We're going to hate it, but it's going to be KL Rahul. And he's going to score a century. And then it's like, oh, how do we drop him? Sarfaraz is not going to score a century, and then we'll drop Sarfaraz for KL Rahul.
But here's the thing, Sarfaraz could totally score a century. But
no, I'm not saying hang on, let me clarify that was not a statement of like having doubt in. I'm just saying the way KL Rahul's careers work, the way fate works against our favorite players, Sarfaraz is going to get out for like 10 runs or something. KL Rahul's going to get a 60 or something like that, and then he's going to keep his place ahead of Sarfaraz when Rohit Sharma comes back. Whether it's the right call or not, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, fair enough.
The other selection dilemma we have is the bowling attack. Obviously, Bumrah is the automatic pick. We assume Siraj is the second seamer. Then is it Akashdeep?
That's not assumed. That we know Siraj is the second seamer. Okay. Akashdeep has to be the third seamer.
So
I think
Akashdeep, is it Prasid, is Harshit Rana getting his debut?
So here's the thing, and here's my conundrum. So Vivian DSP Siraj. Love those memes, by the way. They're phenomenal. They were so funny, even Pant was laughing at them. But here's the thing. With Siraj, he can't really bat.
No.
Neither can Prasid.
Nope.
We know Bumrah can't bat.
Well, he does have the highest scoring over in Test cricket history. Hey, it was against Stuart Broad. It's a good bowler.
So, I mean, our fast bowling attack is basically Sir Vivian DSP Siraj and Sir Jasprit Brian Charles Bumrah. Right? Anyway.
Yeah, so you're definitely calling 2 non-batters there.
Yeah.
Akashdeep can slog a bit.
Akashdeep is listed on Cricinfo as
an all-rounder?
As a bowling all-rounder.
He can do an Umesh.
That's what he can be the new. So yeah, basically we're saying that he can be the new Umrose.
Prasid can't.
So the question is, do you then play? Now somebody like a Shardul Thakur would have been perfect here, but Shardul Thakur has had a couple
Lord
Shardulkar, and he has priors in Australia, which is the other thing. And as much as I think he's the world's most inconsistent and infuriating cricketer, he's still got value to him.
Yeah. Listen, you don't know how he does it, but he's gotten test runs and he's gotten test wickets.
Yeah. And he's come big in big situations.
Yeah, I mean the gap.
That 7 for South Africa. That was
one of
the most random spells of bowling I've ever seen. It's also the best I've ever seen him bowl.
Yeah.
Like out of pure this is random, but wow, this is good.
Yeah.
It
was like that Stuart Binney ODI spell against Bangladesh, except for better. Like much, much, much better.
By the way, can we talk before we go on? Can we talk about Stuart Binney for a second? India have gone into the Hong Kong Sixes. If you guys, anybody knows what the Hong Kong Sixes are, fabulous.
The Hong Kong Sixes is a fairly well-established tournament.
It's a well-established tournament,
Yeah.
maybe not well known anymore because they haven't had one in about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Hong Kong Sixes, great tournament, absolutely love it. Shitty ass small ground somewhere in the middle of densely packed Kowloon, Hong Kong. Bunch of Pakistanis, bunch of Indians watching, right? So now it's 6 aside, 6 overs aside, 40-meter boundaries, and basically you just go hell for leather and try to bash the ball wherever the fuck you want, right? India have gone into the tournament with a team. Forget who won. I'm not even going into that. That's irrelevant to this conversation. India have gone into the tournament with a side that is captained by A. Robin Uthappa, B. includes the likes of Kedar Jadhav, Stuart Binney, Shahbaz Nadeem. Who am I forgetting?
This is literally the murderer's row of SP's least favorite India cricketers.
There was one more. Huh? Well, actually,
Well, I'm talking about SP's least favorite India cricketers.
Okay.
Dinesh Karthik was not in this team.
and to be fair, I don't hate Kedar Jadhav. He was good. Like, he gave me memes as well. So I appreciate him, and he was good. He was good. I have nothing bad to say about Kedar.
The only man who could bowl underarm while bowling overarm.
If you thought what he bowled in international cricket was underarm, man, fucking hell, you should see what he's done there. Anyway.
Was Yuvraj in this team? I can't
No, he wasn't.
No.
He wasn't.
Anyway.
There was a fourth.
Point being,
Point
Uthappa,
being,
Nadeem,
Binney,
Jadhav.
Jadhav, somebody else. There was
No, that
one,
isn't
that
Dinesh
that was
Karthik.
it was isn't Dinesh Karthik. It was some other bloke who just as bad. I swear to God, the only thing that they were missing was Dinda, and they would have completed this set. And the best bit about it was Dinda would have actually improved the team. Anyway, point being, they went in with that, took it as a joke, and guess what? Ended up dead last. Lost to Nepal and Oman. Anyway, back to India versus Australia. Yeah,
So the third seamer / possibly fourth seamer spots.
so now Nitish Reddy or Harshit Rana. Now we've not really seen Harshit Rana, and Reddy doesn't look bad. To be
Harshit
fair.
Rana has had a decent run in the Ranji Trophy this season. He's not got the some outstanding track record, but he's looking okay. He might be a nepotism pick. We don't know. He is.
We don't know. We know. Jay Shah BCCI has called Gautam.
This is only a Gautam Gambhir nepotism pick.
No. Wait. Gautam Gambhir has called Jay Shah BCCI.
Gautam Gambhir, India coach, has called Gautam Gambhir former KKR captain.
Anyway, who's in charge of all of this? Jay Shetty.
Yeah.
Shout out to Adam.
Should we explain that one?
Yeah, shout out to Adam from the Guyanese crew. Adam had no idea who Jay Shah was. He mistakenly...
Die-hard cricket fan.
Die-hard cricket fan. No idea who Jay Shah was. Mistakenly called him Jay Shetty. That's how we go on.
Can you imagine Jay Shah doing motivational podcasts?
That would just be him batting, wouldn't it? Anyway, yeah, so...
Anyway,
Getting back to
11
we're having way too much fun with
8
this.
to
As you
11
can
in
see.
the India team. We know Bumrah and Siraj are two.
So,
of those
like I said,
spots.
there's only really 2 spots to consider, and those will be up for grabs. So we'll see what happens.
Could be Harshit Rana.
Could be Harshit Rana.
Prasidh Krishna has a... Oh, hang on. Who is the most successful bowler of the India A versus Australia A?
Actually, Prasidh Krishna, and to be fair, I did watch that. He bowled really well. He did bowl
but
really
who is actually the most successful bowler in that series?
well. No. I'm done with Biharis on this team, bro. Go celebrate Chhath Puja somewhere else.
Mukesh Kumar took the wickets. I'm just saying. Akash Deep is basically a better version of Mukesh Kumar. But
I mean, Chhath Puja at Optus Stadium doesn't really have a good ring to it, does it?
why not?
There's no Chhath on it for starters.
There's more. They're less likely to get attacked by Maharashtrians. So.
Bring back Ajit Agarkar. Bring back Ajit Agarkar. Or Zahir Khan.
We have a half Maharashtrian and a full Bihari on this podcast.
Yeah, it's... Where's Raj Thakre when you need him? Anyway, that's the Indian side for the first game. It'll be interesting to see how the series goes on as well.
Yeah. This is possibly, I mean, listen, you said it, 2018, we were the better team. 2021 was a miracle.
That's a miracle. I mean,
I think
you
right
can't
now,
really look into that series.
I think right now everyone expects Australia to win this series. Batters in better form, or more than that, our batters in poor form.
Better team.
And that no Pujara for us, or no Pujara type player for us. And then of course that bowling attack of Cummins, Hazelwood, Marsh. But Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark. I don't even know if Stark is an automatic pick, honestly.
Oh, Stark should be. For sure. For sure. I mean, if you're not picking... If you're going to pick Scotty Boland over Mitchell Stark, there's something wrong with you, man. There's so much... 350 test wickets?
Listen. All I can say is the great Shane Warne hated him.
Okay. Shane Warne
had a huge hate boner for Mitchell Stark.
Shane Warne also hated Steve Waugh, so that's not much to go by.
This is true.
Anyway.
He seems to have hated a lot of people that I hate in the Australian team. Warner, I like Shane Warne. Actually, I don't hate Stark, but I did hate Waugh. Fucking hated that team.
Okay. Going to the Australian team. Again, it's a side that pretty much picks itself.
Especially now that they've announced who the next opener is going to be. Saga here is that David Warner retired earlier this year, getting a farewell test against Pakistan.
David's going to enjoy this. This is going to be so you guys are going to enjoy this.
David Warner got his farewell test against Pakistan, got his century because of course that's what he does at home against Pakistan.
I'm going to let him speak while I myself. Go on.
Then of course he's been doing commentary and whatever. Punditry, like who wants to listen to David Warner do punditry? But there you go. David Warner is now a smart analyst showing up on broadcast. He then, when the whole crisis happened of who's going to open for the Australia side in the Border Gavaskar Trophy, decided, hey, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. I can make a comeback. Pat Cummins goes on the Great Cricketer? Yeah, Pat Cummins goes on the Great Cricketer podcast. He's like, thanks, mate. You're retired.
Pat Cummins had some very interesting things to say about that on the Great Cricketer.
Yeah. In the meantime, we didn't really get into this. It's some manufactured controversy, really. But the India Australia A's Test series had a brief ball tampering controversy because basically some Australian umpires decided that Ishan Kishan may have tampered with the ball. Then decided there was no ball tampering or whatsoever. But of course, the stink has been raised. And so David Warner of Newland's ball tampering fame came out and said, this needs to be investigated strongly. We need to know what India A did. As far as we know, India A has done nothing. And that's also David fucking Warner.
No, it's not just David fucking Warner. I'll tell you why that whole ball tampering controversy came about. For the simple reason, simply put, nobody likes Biharis. Ishan Kishan's Bihari. End of story.
But point being, David Warner wanted to come back, or apparently pretended to want to come back.
By the way, this is phenomenally good gin.
Should we have a... Listen, if great cricketer, 6 and out, who else is... What are the other good Australian podcasts?
Club Prairie Fire is good, but it's got Michael Vaughan.
So we should
it's got Michael Vaughan on it, so it loses.
We should send them some Indian gin, and then we should have a collab where we are drinking Australian gin. And
this is a good point, guy.
And we do a collab podcast here.
Actually, that 6 and out bloke, I really want you back. We tried getting in. By the way, we just a little side note.
Backyard cricket is who we tried getting.
We did try and get in touch with WCG Backyard Cricket.
Yeah. We'll do it again.
But Scott, man, you haven't replied, so we're still waiting for you.
We'll try again.
We'll try again.
And we could maybe send you some Indian gin.
We could also maybe get a team to Australia.
I don't know about that part. Do we have a backyard cricket team?
We have a backyard cricket team. We're supposed to play on Sunday, actually. But yeah.
Anyway, so that is the David Warner saga. But they did find an opener. They have, because the whole makeshift Steve Smith as an opener thing never really worked, they have now gone to a different makeshift opener.
Nathan McSweeney. But McSweeney actually makes a lot of sense because he bats 3 for South Australia.
Yeah.
And he's been very good touch.
They desperately wanted it to be Cameron Bancroft. It's just that Bancroft fluffed his lines when the relocation happened.
David Warner said something that hit the nail on the head. The thing with both Bancroft and Marcus Harris is that you know exactly what weaknesses you're going to get. And he said very clearly, he's like, Bancroft is going to struggle against high pace. And the Indian side...
But the Indian side is not a high... I mean, yes, like Bumrah bowls fast, Siraj bowls fast, but it's not like, you know, they're not Stark. They're not...
it doesn't have to be express pace. What he very clearly said this. And he even went into specifics. He said that anything that's 140 plus, these guys are going to struggle with. And all three of them actually, Siraj, Akashdeep, and Bumrah
they can hit 140 for sure.
plus. And I must, by the way, I have to say this. I think Akashdeep's a perfect fit for Australian wickets. I think he's going to be.
He's
really
surprisingly good at the hit the deck
very
line
good at the
and
hit the deck
strategy.
He can bowl like Shami.
Yeah.
But he can also be a hit the deck kind of bowler, and he's a bit taller, so that might work in our favor.
The hit the deck thing is also why Prasidh Krishna is probably in contention. Right?
But having said that, Prasidh had to prove himself, and he did. If he makes if he plays another test match, he's already made his test debut. I wouldn't be surprised because he did bowl well in that series against South Australia, and that was a good.
Pretty good batting.
Australia side.
Pretty good.
It's a pretty good team because they had a lot of batsmen.
We'll say McSweeney batted really well in that series.
Here's the thing though. Australia side again, other than McSweeney, the batting picks itself. It's going to be Khwaja.
Especially with Cameron Green out, so you don't have to make any major changes.
It's straight. Look, it's going to be simple. Khwaja opens, McSweeney opens. That's set in stone, right? Labuschagn's batting 3. We know that. Smith's batting 4. That whole experiment with him open. What the hell were they thinking? Anyway, Smith bats 4. The world's biggest headache bats 5. India's biggest headache bats 5.
I think in test matches, Bumrah has his... I don't know, actually, I don't want to make that statement because I haven't seen
let's just not...
But Bumrah around the wicket to Travis Head has been...
Don't remind everybody of the World Test Championship final last year. Just not go there.
Yes.
Mitch Marsh at 6. Mitch Marsh is going to take the Cameron Green role, basically. Yeah. I don't think he's as good a bowler, but he's probably a better batsman than Cameron.
I actually think he's better in both disciplines.
I don't think so. I think
Cameron Green as a bowler, I mean, he's had his moments, but he never really kicked on. And Mitch Marsh has had his lows for sure, but he's been at his best a really good fourth bowler.
Carey at 7. Carey's had an interesting history. He was terrible, then he fell into a pool in Karachi.
And became great.
Then he fell off a cliff.
Then he fell off a cliff because of running Besto out. He literally, his batting took a dive after that.
No. In fact, it was the reverse. He then fell off a cliff. Then he ran Besto out and his batting reoccurred.
I thought it was the other way around.
No.
Okay. Anyone wants to fact check us?
We'll fact check us on that. But there's synergy between those two incidents. The falling in the Karachi pool and then running Besto out. And also, FYI, Alex Carey, you are the fucking greatest individual for that. Let me tell you. It's one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. I was watching it live and I was I was howling laughing because I knew how out it was. Anyway.
So there's your top 7.
Top 7. The world's most
Marsh,
clutch.
Cummins.
The world's most clutch individual at 8. Pat Cummins. I mean, what a player. It'll be really fun if the series turns into who has the better bowler, Bumrah or Cummins.
The problem is, it's not even going to be that because I think it's going to be who has a better 2, 3, and 4 bowlers, and that's definitely Australia right now because
Stark and Hazelwood
and Lyon,
and Lyon are phenomenal. Yeah. I think Jadeja's comparable to Lyon, but obviously hasn't played as much. So.
But Jadeja right now is probably our second or third best bowler in Australian conditions because I wouldn't say yet that Siraj and Akashdeep are better than him.
No.
And whereas Lyon is very much their 4th best bowler, and he's damn fucking good.
So I mean, it's going to be really tight.
I don't even know if it's going to be tight, man.
I think.
But I'll tell you, could see a 3-1 or a 4-1 to Australia.
I'll tell you why. It's very simple. It's as simple as this. The way to scare India off late is to put a giant tandoor around the pitch and dry it the fuck up. If Australia do that and then decide to play, I don't know, some random
it's
fucking
Australia
left arm. Now listen to me. Let me finish. some random fucking poopsy left arm spinner that will get the ball to spin a mile on a pitch that's got like a million cracks and is puffing at the seams like
What
a
we're-
fucking
What
dragon.
we're saying is Steve Smith is going to take a 10 for someone. I know he's not left arm, but Steve Smith is going to take a 10 for
Somehow Steve Smith taking a 10 for sounds appropriate. That's how you scare India. You Pakistan them. Australia have been Pakistan in Australia for no apparent reason. Mohammad Rizwan has gone through 2 games in a one-day series where he's decided that fifth bowler की जरूरत ही नहीं है. हम 4 bowler डाल के all out
I mean,
करेंगे.
that was our World Cup. That was literally our World Cup strategy after Hardik got injured in the ODI.
No, we played 5. We played 5.
Oh, sorry, we played 5 bowlers.
We made the mistake. We
We didn't even make a mistake. Shami was great. It's just that we didn't have the batting in the
we
front.
didn't have the bat.
Anyway.
Anyway, let's not get into that. That's too much trauma there.
Yeah. No, I genuinely, I have not been more pessimistic about our India series of late than this one. It
This
could
series-
very easily be 3-1 or 4-1 to Australia.
This series goes one of 2 ways. And this is my prediction. It either goes 4-1 or 4-0 to Australia, where they dominate, we're terrible, and nothing good comes off it. And post that, then I don't know, Gambhir gets sacked, Kohli
Which is what I'm hoping for, by the way. I want
Rohit
Gambhir
Sharma disappears. But all of that happens because Indian cricket is Indian cricket, and it's just
Yeah.
It like you've basically planted the seed for a nuclear bomb by losing to New Zealand, and then in Australia when you lose, the nuclear bomb goes off.
If you get embarrassed in Australia,
Yeah.
like Gambhir's
It goes
career,
off, it goes off.
which is
Gambhir's
honestly,
done that.
honestly, yeah, because this whole thing of Gambhir being a master tactician and all, which
Bullshit.
he's been decent in T20, but like that's not the same thing. Your resume cannot be IPL champion, therefore India coach.
And that doesn't work in Test cricket at all. So point blank, that's it. Test cricket, you need an old school coach.
I don't even if you need an old school coach. We have to have something better than just I know T20
We've had
tactics.
2 old school coaches and they've worked brilliantly.
But Dravid was not an old school coach though. Like yes, he's from a previous generation, but his tactics and like methods in that coaching staff were fairly modern. They were very analytic.
But his
based,
style of play
matchup
for
based.
Test cricket was fairly
Of course,
traditional. That's what I
his
mean.
Batting, no, but his coaching style was very modern. He's very much a modern coach.
You want to pause me, make you one more?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Again, this is how you know it's unfiltered. We're talking about alcohol while this is going on. Also, shout out to Wasey Habib and his friend who I had no idea what his name is. One of the best podcasts I've ever seen in my life. They're hilarious. We don't aim to be them. We just want to be friends with them. So, yeah, like I said, one of 2 ways. One, we get absolutely battered. The other one, it goes down to the wire. Like, it's close. It's 2-2 going into Sydney. And then all hell breaks loose.
I would take it to. If India win 2 tests in this series, I would be very impressed. I would. And listen, all the World Test Championship permutations are pretty much out the window because
Forget the
I think
final.
we need to
This
win 4 tests to guarantee a place in this final.
This is all about the Border Gavaskar Trophy, which, by the way, is the biggest prize in Test cricket at the moment, other than the World Test Championship.
I think it's honestly, it is the biggest prize in Test cricket at the moment. The World Test Championship obviously comes with the whole ICC trophy tag and all of that, but this is the premier series in Test cricket.
And let me tell every Australian fan out there, as Indians, even if we played Pakistan, this is still the biggest series for us.
Yeah, because this is
By far.
Yeah, this is these have been 2 of the best Test sides for consistently now
for a long
and
time.
of course India just have had this sudden dip with the New Zealand series. But yeah, these are
Look, it'll be really fun to see because if they bounce back from that, then you could just consider that a one-off.
crazy one-off, but
it's
sure,
a crazy one-off. I agree, but it taught them a lesson. You can't go out there on wickets that even the playing field,
and then bat like shit,
and then bat like
you're England.
I don't know who it was that came up with this line. Whether it was, I think it's either Tony Greig or Gavaskar, who said that if you bat like millionaires, you will get burned. That's what they did. Basically, that's what they did.
Is that like the cricket communist manifesto? Is that the line? If you bat like millionaires, you will burn.
Somewhat that order. I can't. Again, I cannot. I know someone has said that. I can't remember who it was. It was either Gavaskar or Tony Greig. One of the 2. it sounds more Gavaskar than Tony Gregg, I'll be honest. But it was one of the two. But anyway, predictions.
I'm going 3-1 Australia.
I'd have to say the same, to be fair. I'd really, for once in nearly 10 years, this is so strange for me because I've seen the dark days, and for the first time in 10 years, I'm like, do you know what? We could get battered here.
Yeah, we could.
We could just get battered. Like, nothing comes off. Shami isn't fit. Rohit Sharma doesn't make it back for like 3 games. Not that he'd make much of a difference, but, and we get battered. And
I will say, on that note,
I swear to God, my worst nightmare is, I'll tell you what my worst nightmare is. We lose 4-1, but the one game that we win, the bastard that makes 200s in the game is KL
Rahul. I am looking forward to Jaiswal in the series. So that's what I'll say. I have been blown away by that kid. He is genuinely, I think, batting talent-wise, possibly the best India has seen since Sachin. And I understand who I'm putting him above by making that claim.
So I have 3 things to say about batting talent in India. I've obviously been following this for a long time, and I'm being based out of Bombay and being someone who watches domestic schools cricket, all of that out of the city, and having played a little bit of club cricket, I also know the kind of situation that goes on around here. You get batting talent a lot. You don't get any of the likes of Jaiswal, Sarfaraz Khan, and the third one is sad state of affairs with Prithvi Shaw.
Yeah. But Prithvi Shaw, I mean, forget everything else that happened, but we knew the technical flaws that would trip him up at test level. Like, they were very obvious even when he was making runs. Of course, a lot of other shit has happened around his career.
You know what? He would have overcome those flaws. My thing with Shaw is it would have probably overcome those flaws had all the other nonsense not happened. And the other nonsense is what hurts us.
But I think Jaiswal, like, right now, I really don't want to jinx him. But right now, I don't see the flaw with Jaiswal. Obviously, that doesn't mean he's going to go out and score 100 every game, because no one does that. But you look at him, you look at the range of shots he has, you look at his temperament,
his technique, his temperament. Actually, funny enough, the two most technically sound players that I've seen of late, post Pujara actually, have been Jaiswal and Jurel, and that's saying something. And I for a long time,
I'm really impressed with Jurel. Yeah, I mean, obviously since that
Ranchi test, yeah. But the other thing, forget about all of that. The one person I thought was technically sound, and I am so fucking want to strangle him.
Again, KL Rahul?
Yep. You know what? Here's the thing. I stuck my neck out for KL Rahul.
Yeah, we would. I've been a long time KL Rahul fan.
No. I stuck my... You don't understand. This is more personal than that. KL Rahul, if you're listening to this, you are the new Dinesh Karthik of this podcast. I have stuck my neck out for you.
But here's the thing. That does not make him the new Dinesh Karthik.
Let me finish.
Because you've never stuck your neck out.
Can I tell you? Okay. But here's what's going to happen. Okay, fine. Worse. You're going to become the new Shakib of this podcast. That's a bigger threat, actually.
That means that I'm going to love him and you're going to hate him. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
So the thing is, about 7 or 8 years, I can't remember exactly when this was. I stuck my neck out for KL Rahul around 2017-ish. When he had the first proper dip. I think it was around that England series, actually, when we first started recording. And I stuck it out in front of no less an individual than Mohinder Amarnath. And not only have you proved me wrong, you've been annoyingly right and then proved me wrong. But T20 has ruined his career. I'll give him that. Dinesh Karthik had a career resurgence because of it.
KL has been one of those guys, right? He was a great test player, then wasn't quite hacking it at T20. Then he changed his game to hack it at T20, which screwed up his test game.
It's happened with so many people.
Yeah.
Rohit Sharma was the same, but
Rohit Sharma has played out all format. Kohli, I mean, I will say, I think Kohli's T20 game is slightly overrated, but he's been a successful T20 player, clearly.
Kohli is an outlier. It's weird that the only format that he's actually had a dip in is Test cricket.
Yeah, which is shocking, really. I wonder if he's just kind of gotten lazy, honestly. But sometimes it's just getting out to a full toss to Mitchell Santner. Like, what the hell was that?
I mean, look, do you know what? There are times when you play bad shots.
Yeah.
And if you play a bad shot, once in a while, people bail you out. Most times.
And that's the thing, Kohli's bailed that team out so many times.
But anyway, let's not get into Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli is
Kohli's Kohli. I hope he brings his average back above 50 at some point.
Do you know what? Here's the thing. Virat Kohli is so fit. He's at about, 8,700 or so in Test cricket. If Virat Kohli and what's happened with the Fab Four is really interesting. It's because Smith's had a drop off, Kohli's had a drop off, Williamson's gotten injured a lot without having a drop off. The only person
and plays the fewest tests because
he's New Zealand.
Yeah.
The only person who in Test cricket has taken off is Joe Root. But then Joe Root's out of the four of them, probably outside of Williamson, the most technically sound. Or maybe even more than Williamson. That's debatable.
I think all four of them are technically sound. They're not, obviously Smith isn't textbook, but he's still very technically sound.
Smith's a bit odd, but that's in fact, so if you look at Kohli now and you look at Kohli 10 years ago, you'd see that he's made so many changes to his technique. It's ridiculous. He's the least technically sound of all of them, and everyone's saying this, that his pure hunger for runs was the reason that he was even there. And we could see that. That's pretty clear.
Well, he had that, but he definitely, the way he worked on his game, I thought he was technically sound for a long time.
No,
I don't
he
know
did
what's
get
happened now
sound.
recently.
He's just had a drop off against spin and strange pitches and all of that. It's a whole thing, and I think the pandemic affected him more than anybody else.
Yeah.
I think he was one of the first.
By the way, speaking of the Fab Four, thank you Pakistan for making sure that Joe Root stopped making runs after that double century that he scored in the first game.
Also, thank you Pakistan for dropping Babar Azam so that all of you guys can shut the fuck up. Nowhere near.
No, not at this level.
Listen, let me say one thing before. We're pretty much done with India Australia, I'm assuming.
I guess so.
Yeah.
We made our predictions and all.
We've made our predictions and all. So here's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna have this little 2 minutes on Babar Azam. Okay. Because I want to say what I want to say here. And Wase Habib, I agree with you. And then we will move on to the Nobles Awards.
Let's just call them the Babar Azam Awards because we don't really have Nobles Awards to give them. So let's call it the Babar Azam Awards.
The Babar Azam Awards for shit. That's what it is. So look, everyone for all eternity has been saying that Babar Azam is as good a cricketer as any of the Fab Four.
Yeah, just make it a Fab Five.
Replace Joe,
replace Virat
Kohli, blah blah blah. Look, here's the difference between Babar Azam and the Fab Four, and it's as simple as this. Technique, fine, no questions. Babar Azam's got a great technique, lovely high elbow, very aesthetic's dream. Same boat as KL Rahul. Yes, we are going to go on with this. This is going to be the new thing on this podcast. I love it. I absolutely love it. However, even when you're playing on the flattest of the flat, a la anywhere in Pakistan, this man cannot make runs. He cannot make runs.
Are you saying he can only make runs against Zimbabwe?
That's why it's called Zimbabwe. But the point I'm trying to get at with Babar,
the problem is that he started off making runs everywhere against everyone. Like he had good innings in Australia and in South Africa and England, and then he fell off. He's had the Kohli fall off, but just much more drastic because it's happened
much earlier.
Yeah.
But it also goes to show that you can't take anything for granted in Test cricket. I mean, look at the number of people that have had fall-offs. Prime example of this, and someone with a very sound technique actually is Rohit Sharma.
Honestly, I was going to say, I don't know if this is fair. Actually, I was going to say Rahul Dravid. Because Dravid did have a fall-off.
Dravid never actually, to be fair, Dravid never had a fall-off in Test cricket.
I mean, towards the end. Though he obviously had a great England series.
I'm talking about the middle and beginning and middle of careers.
Yeah.
Dravid never had a fall-off. Dravid at the end is fine. At the end of your career, if you have that, it's like, okay, fine, you've done your thing. Like, it's over. Like, you know it's over. There's someone like Sehwag who was very unorthodox and he had a fall off as well. I mean,
Yeah, well, that's different.
Even
Sehwag was all hand-eye coordination, so
yeah,
then
but
when
even
you lose that...
even someone as technically sound as Dravid and Tendulkar have had fall offs. So that's not saying...
Which is where, and that's also more age than...
Yeah.
which is not the case with Babar.
Even the biggest fall off actually that I saw for someone who survived that long was Ricky Ponting.
Yeah, because, I mean, that
that-
last stretch of his Ponting's career...
And okay, as much as I despise Ricky Ponting for what he did to me in my childhood,
Oh, I just despise him
always-
because he's a cunt, but okay.
I respect him immensely.
I don't
as a
respect him at
cricketer. Thank you. Go away.
That's what I say to Ricky Ponting. I don't even say the thank you.
But yeah, like I would feel that way about like he's a great cricketer and it you know what, he got out. It's basically all it is. Babar Azam has a very similar career path to who else did we think was bloody amazing and then turned out to be an absolute... No, Kamli had off-field issues. It was never the on-field thing. He still averages over 50 in Test cricket. Remember that.
Thorpe? But Thorpe was just...
Thorpe
Thorpe was
lasted
just-
a long time.
Yeah,
Thorpe
but
was
also
10
Thorpe just was
12 years.
more... The issue was that he wasn't great with the step up to Test cricket.
No, Thorpe, in fact...
Sorry, I didn't mean Thorpe. I meant Ram Prakash, not Thorpe.
Ramprakash, yeah, fine. But Ramprakash, again, got a long run and was okay.
Good point. Loads of talent, looked the part, and then just couldn't make runs. Whereas Babar Azam has made runs and then has fallen off.
I think Babar Azam...
Rahane, honestly. Rahane is probably a good comparison. Aesthetically pleasing, like just when he's on form, looks great.
But
then
again,
he had his...
Rahane, his drop-off was way later as well, so...
But it was a steep drop off. From a guy who was scoring
but
runs in England and
was
Australia.
scoring runs
to like-
everywhere, pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean,
apart from India.
do you know what, the funny bit is, do you know his last Test 100? It's
Australia.
so crazy. It's that
Yeah.
Melbourne game, yeah.
Yeah.
From 3 years ago. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Babar Azam, I'm sorry, I agree with Wasai Habib on this. And if you guys haven't seen that clip, Wasai Habib, Khuda ka khauf. Man, I love those guys. They're awesome. Like,
They're brilliant.
by the way, let me just say this, and I don't want to sound anti-national or anything, and I have Pakistani friends.
How
guys
dare
are-
you? You've already started sounding anti-national. You have Pakistani friends.
You can't tell me anything. You're American. Fuck off. Putting a bald eagle here now. I will actually put a bald eagle. But yeah. No, so basically what they were saying was the news channel tried to compare him to Tendulkar and Wasai Habib just said, no, fuck off. Have you even... has Babar Azam ever been able to smack 155, 160 kilometer an hour balls over point for 6? No. So then don't start talking about it. It's as simple as that. And
It's possibly the most viral cricket podcast / broadcast clip of the last 2-3 years.
2-3 years of the last month. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is he's not close. And let's not go into that. So Babar Azam, sayonara.
I think that the drop from Test cricket might actually do him some good. Let him work on his game in domestic cricket.
It's Pakistan. Two things will happen. He'll either remember how to bat or remember how to speak English.
Send him for Ranji. Let's have some controversy. How can a Pakistani come and play Ranji Trophy?
Bro, you know if he comes to play Ranji Trophy in Bombay, what will happen? Anyway, moving on swiftly into the Babar Azam Awards.
Babar Azam Awards. Actually, should we call them the KLOL Awards instead?
No, because we were going to give him an award.
Okay. So KL Rahul is getting a Babar Azam Award?
KLOL is getting a lifetime achievement. Lifetime of a loserdom achievement award. So lol. Basically because
Can we dub him Talent Rahul now?
I think we should.
Yeah, because Rohit Sharma has outplayed the Talent Sharma name. Like, I know he's
the
had
most
his-
talented thing KL Rahul has done was show up on that Coffee with Karan episode with Hardik Pandya.
Okay. Talent Rahul.
Talent
Your new
Rahul.
name.
High five, bro. You've got an award. Thank you very much. And do we have any others?
I was gonna say please don't score a century versus Australia.
Yeah, please don't score.
But then we
Please don't even play.
We want him. If he plays, we want him to score a century. I guess.
We don't want him to play to begin with. So can we just go away? Also, secondly is the Basbolics Award for England. Just you guys are artists.
How do you do that
Bro,
800
it's a
wala innings
marketing
and
fucking
then
gimmick.
and
Enough.
Then, yes.
You're
that's
also
okay.
shit at one-day cricket. To lose to the West Indies, they didn't make the last World Cup. They haven't made the Champions Trophy. So why are you even losing to them? Shout out to my West Indies bros. Well done.
collapsing in the T20 World Cup. This is because England had that whole revolution after 2015 and became like the dominant limited over side of their time, and then suddenly lost it after 4 years. Well, I mean, okay, after 7 years.
So to finish, here's what I have to say: the revolution is dead. Long live the king. Good night.
It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't know Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't know Gavaskar at all.